welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny and you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Honeybird Studio. It's been a long time. Yes, it has been. It's been 8 months, I think, since my last video upload to this channel. And I actually had filmed like at least 3 or 4 videos between, what was that, like October of last year and literally last week. But I didn't post any of those videos because I didn't like the quality of them and I just wasn't feeling it. And so here I am again trying to film a podcast, standard issue knitting podcast, for the first time in what feels like forever. So I do apologize if I'm a little rusty. Also, this is a new location. I am at my place. I live in a basement suite, but now I have a window. We had renovations last month, and so now I've got a nice big window in my kitchen here. So I thought it would be like an appropriate place to try out the lighting. It makes it easier if I film at my place as opposed to bringing all of my stuff to my parents' place to film in the studio. So the backdrop's not as exciting as the studio where I have like yarn and whatever behind me, but hopefully this will suffice. I like that there's like this kind of blank area here, so when I post pictures or add pictures into the video, I'll be posting them on this side. But yeah, I think I don't really have, I won't really get into like life updates or whatever right off the bat, because I think what I would like to do is get right into the knitting. I have several finished objects. I think I have, well, I'm showing 8 of my finished objects today. I have a handful more than that, but I feel like, I think 8, the ones that I picked, I'm just super excited to show, and I feel like 8 is more than enough for one video. And then for works in progress, I only chose, oh my gosh, my words. I chose 3 of my most, my 3 most worked on works in progress right now, because I have about 5 other works in progress that are more like for the fall winter. So I think I'm gonna put those guys on ice until the weather cools down, because I'm like full swing into summer, like spring and summer knits. So yeah, with all that said, let's get into finished objects. I'm so rusty, oh my god. Okay, so my first finished object is a big one. It is a project that I started last April, I think, back in, it was like, I got the yarn at Fibers West last year. Was it Fibers? Yeah, it would have been Fibers West 2024. So maybe that was at the end of March. In any case, my first finished object, I finally finished after a year of working on it. And that is a dress, and it's called Vilna, and that is by Natalie Pelykh. And I'm gonna have to put photos in here of the finished objects because I'm in a corner here, so I can't really like back up and show you the whole thing. But yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it, but I'll insert a picture here of the well, okay, so first of all, I have a picture of me wearing just the dress and like my brown boots, and I thought that was, I think it's a pretty cute look. I actually like the shaping of the dress. The decreases like were perfect for my body, I feel like. But the issue I have with this dress is that I mismeasured my bust, or I assumed that my bust was 36 inches, but it's actually 34 inches, and so I chose the wrong size. So technically this dress is one size, like it's got 2 inches of positive ease, I guess. But that's okay, because I also have a belt that I've had for probably 20 years at this point. Maybe 15 years. I don't know. I've had it for so long. I've had this particular belt since it was in fashion, however long ago that was to wear waist belts, I guess. I don't know if that's what they were called. Like, you just belts around your waist. Anyways, so I put that with this dress, and I thought that was, I feel like it helps kind of tie the look together. And then I have another picture of me wearing the dress with the cardigan and the belt and my brown boots and a cute hat. And if I can find that picture, I'll put it in here as well. It's just the whole outfit I'm so excited about. Anyways, the yarn that I used, I picked up from Penelope Fiber Arts at Fibers West, and I think it's like weaving cotton. It's 100% organic cotton, and it came in these like cones. And this is the second one, so I knit through the whole first one, and this looks like, I haven't weighed it, but I'm assuming this is like half of the cone is left. So I think each one of these had just under 800 yards, I think. Or maybe it was 1200. I don't remember, because it came with like a little tiny sticker on it that had the information, but I have since completely lost it. But in any case, I knit, let's see. So you start with this dress, you start at the bottom. So you start with the most amount of stitches at the bottom, and you do these like lace panels here. And then these increases here, or like this here, that's kind of like acts like a pleat, I guess. Like when you're wearing it, it kind of like folds in like that. The lace was not my favorite. To me, I feel like I'm fairly, I feel like I'm pretty good at lace work, even if it's something that I need to, like, I can't memorize, but it still feels intuitive in some form or another. This lace did not feel intuitive to me whatsoever. I was constantly looking at the chart. Actually, I wasn't even looking at the chart. The chart was very overwhelming. It's very tiny, or like the chart is very big, but like so many rows, it was easier to follow the written instructions, or at least for me, it was easier to follow the written instructions. But that's what the lace looks like, and I don't know, it's just not my favorite, but I went with it anyway. I didn't feel like modifying the lace. I'm almost 100% certain that there are mistakes in this lace work, because it just, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. The worst part of the lace was actually, so you know how there's like knit 2 together and slip, slip, knit? Well, this pattern had knit 5 together in some places and slip, 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 knit. So it was like basically 5 stitches all together, and that was not fun. I think I knit this on, oh gosh, I don't even remember what needle size I knit this on, but I want to say it was like maybe 2.75 or 3mm needles. So I got a pretty, like, it's a lot of stitches. And that's why, another reason why it took me so long. I mean, honestly, once I got past this part here, the body was super chill, super easy. I split for the front and back, and then that's when this took forever, because the lace chart at the top is slightly different from the bottom. It's not knit 5 togethers and slip, you know, slip 5 and whatever. It's knit 4 togethers and slip 4. So it was easier on my hands to do that particular lace panel, or like that lace chart, but it's gonna be hard to see. But anyways, without getting too complicated with the explanation, I fudged a lot of this, because like a lot of the lace part, because essentially the pattern did have some mistakes. I had written them down on pieces of paper that I meant to put into my notebook, like the exact rows that had the mistakes on them. But I feel like I'm advanced enough as a knitter that I was able to like just figure out what was supposed to be there that wasn't in the written instructions. I like cross-referenced it to the chart, and the chart, it's like where the chart was correct, or sorry, the written instructions were incorrect, but the chart had the correct thing going on, like the correct symbols. But anyways, the part that really tripped me up was once you split like the left and right front, it's basically, the chart is like, I don't know, 100 rows, right? And you're supposed to knit until X amount of centimeters or inches, depending on your size. And then you start to decrease out a number of stitches on every other row, like every right side row or something. But you have to keep going in pattern. And how do I explain this without overcomplicating it? On one side, it was easy because I don't know, like where the chart starts is where you start. knitting, but then where the decreases happen, like you're suddenly like not doing that part of the chart. You've decreased the stitches out, and then when you come back the other way, you have to find where you are in that chart and make the lace make sense for the rest of the row. And I'm not sure why, but the first time I tried to do it, I could not wrap my mind around it whatsoever. And so I put it down. Like, I got to the lace part in November, and I finally like sat down and just cranked it out in like a couple of weeks, about a month ago. I think it would have been because I wore this to the Tulip Fields. That was like the day I finished it. It was sometime in March or April is when I finished this. And it really only took me 2 weeks of really hammering it out, like really sitting down and putting my brain to work and figuring it out, because the front was one thing, and then the back was a whole other thing, because, well, the back wasn't as hard as the front, because in this one you're working the left back and the right back, and then, but you have the same decrease issue going on at the neckline here. But, oh, and then there's like short rows up here in the shoulders, and like, not only are you like, I don't know, I gave up trying to be precise with the chart on the short rows, and there's a lot of, like, there's a whole section in there that I just didn't even do the lace. I was just like, no, I'm not even gonna try. So I didn't. I was just so ready to be done with this. And then on the back, there's a number of yarn over holes that you can put your buttons through. And so I figured, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 buttons. I thought the 4 buttons would be appropriate for the amount of like space that I have here. I think that looks pretty. I mean, maybe I could have done 5. No, I think I counted out the number of yarn over holes, and I was like, oh no, 4 makes the most sense. My only issue is that my very first yarn over hole was way too big, and so the button doesn't really stay. And so I've opted to like try and push it through one of the other holes up here, but it's a little bit harder to get through. But yeah, if I had someone to help me, because well, no, I guess I could put this over my head. I don't have to worry about that. No, I'll just leave it in that. I'll just leave it buttoned up at the top one. It does pull it a little bit, but I think it's fine. But in any case, this dress I would not knit again, just because it was quite a chore. But I absolutely love the overall look of it. I love the outfit I put together. I think is the cutest thing ever. I would not recommend this pattern for definitely not for new knitters. I don't know, like, maybe I was overthinking it. I don't know, but I feel like having the knowledge that I have in terms of lace work, that's what helped me get through this. Like, the lace at the bottom was not a huge issue because I wasn't increasing or decreasing in the lace work like I was on the neckline on the front and the back at the top. So like I feel like I want to use the exact same numbers in this pattern and knit another dress, but with a different lace motif or something. But yeah, I guess that would be in the cards if I had enough yarn for a dress, because I do like the shape of this dress. If I was to knit the size down, I think it would fit my body better without having a belt. The other thing I was going to point out is that there's I-cord edging to finish off the sleeves and the neckline, like you probably have already seen. I think it was just like a 2-stitch I-cord. I think I attempted to do a 3-stitch I-cord because I thought the 2-stitch would be too little. And the 3 stitches was too bulky looking. So I ripped out the 3-stitch I-cord and I did what was in the pattern, and I did I believe it was 2 stitches. But yeah, so that's my Vilna. It's like, I would say like my longest, like the finished object I spent the longest on, I should say. Okay, so the next finished object I'm super excited about because it's something that I'm able to wear during like now with the weather being sort of like in between like 10 and 20 degrees. So this is the Trinigan, and this is by Andrea Mowry. And I love this so much. I've already worn it a bazillion times. So this is, yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, you can see like there's like the two colors there. And it's like a, yeah. Look at the color. You can see the colors more on the inside, like the color changing yarn. But yeah, it's mosaic knitting. There you go. Oh wait, what is it? No, it's not gonna focus? Yeah. I think my front camera has issues trying to focus and it like constantly tries to like go back and forth. But anyways, the yarn I used for this is, for the main color, I used Barocco Vintage DK. So I had bought 5 skeins of this, thinking that I would need 5, but I ended up only, I think I made, what am I saying? I made the whole thing with just 4 of these, so I have 1 left over. And then I believe I only used 2 skeins of this Mountain Color hand-painted yarn. I think it's called Twizzle. Yeah, and then this is the color changing yarn. It's like barber pulled. It's got like some deep teal blues and a little bit of like gray green and some purples in there. Oh, there's more like the gray green. Some more of the purples up here. I had like 7 skeins of this, or yeah, I had 7 skeins to start, and I think I have 5 left. So I think I only used 2 of these for this entire cardigan. I did make a huge, well, not a huge modification. I made a size modification to this because I believe the pattern itself is for a worsted weight yarn, or at least the gauge that it was at I didn't like, or on the needles it was on, I don't know, whatever it happened to be, I didn't like what I was getting. And so what I did was I didn't do a gauge swatch. No, what I did was I cast on, no, what did I do? It's been so long I can't remember, but I eventually figured out that with the yarn I was using and with the needle size I was using, I needed to go down to, I think it's I went to a 3mm needle for the ribbing. No, 3.5 for the ribbing. No. Oh gosh, I don't remember. I want to say it was a 3.5 for the ribbing and 4mm for the body, for the mosaic knitting. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And so anyways, so with the gauge that I was getting, I had to go to a size 4, where normally I knit like a size 1 or 2 in most patterns. But when I cast on for the size 4 and I measured out, like I started doing the ribbing, you start at the bottom, like this is a bottom up construction. So I did the whole ribbing band, and then what I did was I took it off the needles, or no, did I take, no, I had it on a really long cord. And I measured it out, and then I measured like I measured that versus what the pattern numbers were. There was a lot of math involved, which is not something I normally do, but because I really wanted this yarn to work for this pattern, I did put the extra work into doing that. The funny thing is, I didn't do a gauge swatch. There's no way, because I don't see anything in my bin over there that I gauge swatched this. So I think I still threw caution to the wind and I got really lucky, because the end result is really nice. But yeah, I hopefully will have put pictures in here. I believe my outfit inspiration was basically like baggy jeans, a white t-shirt, my gray runners, or like my gray shoes, I should say, and then this, a white t-shirt. Did I already say that? Anyways, it was like a super chill, relaxed look, and I decided I don't like my baggy jeans anymore. I think I might donate them. I don't think they suit me anymore. It's not my jam. But I have jeans, like my capris I'm wearing right now is like gonna be my staple piece, or my staple jeans for the summer. I have 2 pairs of capris. Anyway, so the whole outfit is basically white t-shirt, blue capri jeans, my gray wool shoes, and then this. And like that's my favorite outfit that I've been wearing this spring so far. But yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this. It's got the 3 needle bind off at the top here. Instead of doing the 3 needle bind off where the seam is hidden on the inside, the pattern actually has this detail where you bind off the other way, so you get that line. I was originally not going to do that because I didn't like the way that it looked. But then I don't know, something made me change my mind. I think what it was is, no, I don't know. I think when I was doing it, I think I did it the other way, the way I wanted to, with it not being showing. And I think it just gives it more, not structure, but it gives it more like a, I don't know, just a place to break up the stitches, I guess, instead of having it go like right around the shoulders. I think it adds more interest, I guess. But yeah, so that's my Trinigan, and I do plan on knitting another one. I did pick up some more Barocco Vintage DK, but in a purple. It's like a lilac-y, no, not even a lilac-y purple. I'm not sure what kind of, it's a nice purple though. It's lighter than this purple. And then I'll use it again with what I have left over of this Mountain Meadow wool, or Mountain Color hand painted yarn. A totally different brand. But yeah, so that's my Trinigan. I have 2 more cardigans before I get into the other. Oh, technically, I think I've got 3 more garments before I get into a handful of socks. So my next finished cardigan is the Carly cardigan, and this is a design by Irene Lynn. And I initially cast this on for the Irene Lynn knit along that Faith and I hosted last year in September. I think it was like from September to December, or October to December. And I got really far on this cardigan, and then I got busy because I got a new job towards the end of the year last year, and then a lot of my knitting kind of like fell by the wayside. But anyways, I think it was like the first week of January or the second week of January I finally finished the cardigan. Actually, wait, where am I going? I'm going this way. So it's an all-over cable cardigan. You work it from the top down, and it has pockets. The first time I've ever done pockets like this, the only other time I've done pockets is afterthought pockets in like a baby cardigan, and I really hated seaming up. Like, you basically make the pocket and then you put it on the top of the garment and you seam it. I didn't like that. This is like kind of integrated into the pattern with very minimal seaming. I think it's just seaming on the sides of the pocket because the rest is done with the pattern, like as you're going. So here's the back. Like, there's 2 cables that go down the back, and then plus these braids and some slip stitches, and then on the sides there's double moss stitch. Is that what that is? But the thing that really interested me about this pattern that kind of like blew my mind was this. You see that line? It's kind of like a triangle going that way. Like, doing the back piece, like, I feel like while I was doing this, it just didn't. If I could find the pictures of the progress that I was making, it's basically like the back piece was like a triangle, and then you pick up the left front and then the right front, and then you fold it, and then you connect it together, kind of thing. But it's like, I'm not sure why, but my brain couldn't comprehend what was going on. And I think it was because I wasn't anticipating the shoulders, because I don't remember there being short rows. And I think it's just no, maybe there were short rows. Oh, gosh, I can't remember. It's just the way that this was constructed was very new to me, but not new to me, because when you're doing like drop shoulder construction, it's similar to that, where you've got the back piece and it's kind of like that trapezoid shape, and then you pick up, yeah, it's kind of the same. I think it's just because this was just so abrupt. Like, that triangle is so, like, you see that? It's a triangle. Anyway, sorry. All that to say, I really enjoyed this pattern so much. I've actually knit it twice. I don't have the other one because I gifted it. It was a gift. Well, I say a gift. It was like an exchange with a friend. I got some, we basically exchanged, we bartered with each other. It's like, I can knit something for you if you can get me some gift cards and some coffee. Essentially. Oh yeah, so the yarn that I used for this, I think I've got the label here. I used Estelle yarns. I held 2 yarns together. So I held Eco Shetland Worsted, and I believe this is in the caramel colorway. Yep. And then the Alpaca Whisper, which is also in the caramel colorway. And I held those together, and with most of Irene Lynn's patterns, I think I'm just like generally a looser knitter than most designers, it seems, because I'm constantly having to go down needle sizes. So I believe I went down to, I think this is calls for like a 6mm, but if I remember correctly, I think I knit this on a 5.5mm. But yeah, oh my gosh, I just, look at that. And I have worn this so much, and I feel like it's not, oh, sorry for the sirens. I feel like it's not, I'm trying to think, where do I hold my bag? Like, okay, so I normally carry my bag over my shoulder, my right shoulder, and I've worn this so much that I'm surprised that there's no, like, I don't know, maybe, yeah, there's like no pilling whatsoever on this. And even where my bag is like under here, under the armpit here, like, that doesn't look like there's any pilling whatsoever. Well, I mean, like, maybe it looks a little bit shaggy here. Okay, maybe. Oh yeah, I guess that's, but it's not like pilling like crazy. And I'm I'm like extremely impressed with this yarn. I would definitely buy it again. I just, the yarn store that I got it from closed a long time ago. So, I mean, these two together, Eco Shetland Worsted and Alpaca Whisper. If I remember correctly, there was like a handful of different colors for the I think the Eco Shetland Worsted is limited. Maybe they're both limited in the color range. I don't remember there being too many options, but this was the color that I picked because, I don't know, there's something about this color that I had never considered for myself before. And then once I knit this cardigan and I started wearing it like all the time, like from January until like now that's gotten warmer, I haven't been wearing it as much. I'm like, this color, I really like this color. Like, this color looks really good on me, I think. And so I would like to knit more things in this color. Oh yeah, this was the same yarn I knit my woodstone wrap out of. That's right, because I got a bunch of it. And I had, yeah, so I had enough left over to knit a whole cardigan. And I think I have 2 skeins left of the Alpaca Whisper. I think it was like, it must have been like when the yarn shop was closing. I was just like, I'm just gonna get it all. Might as well. It was on discount. But yeah, love the pockets on this. Very lovely. They're also, I feel like they would be functional too. I just haven't used them to put anything in them because I haven't really needed to. I generally carry a purse. The only modification I made to this pattern was that I didn't do the decreases on the body before the ribbing, because I think in the pattern it shows it kind of like coming in a little bit, and I didn't like that. I wanted it to just be straight. Why do I keep going to this side? Go to this side. I wanted it to just be straight down. Well, you're not gonna be able to see it, but I will insert pictures and stuff, and hopefully maybe I can, I don't know. Yeah, it's not gonna show. Anyways, so there's decreases before you start the ribbing, and I just omitted them entirely and then just went straight into the ribbing. This project, I started doing combination knitting in order to tighten up my purls and my knits and my purls between the cables and stuff. And I feel like it made a difference. I'm trying to think if it was on my sleeves that, I don't know, like I just feel like usually I would get gaps between the cable and then the next purl stitch or whatever. And so I started doing the combination knitting where you wrap the yarn the other way, and then on the way back, or like on the next row, you like knit it through the back loop. I'm not sure how to explain it, but you're basically like, you're not fully twisting the stitch, but the way you knit it is as if you were going to twist the stitch, but then you're kind of like undoing it at the same time as doing the next row. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm pretty certain it's called combination knitting. And I feel like, what was it on the, yeah, I didn't do it on the back at the start, so I feel like you can see it better from the wrong side. Wait, where did it go? Where's that big ass cable? Where did it go? Okay, it was this one here. Maybe you can see it, but like it's very gappy here. And then at some point I did switch to the combination knitting, and I feel like it just tightened it up just that little bit. How can I show this? I don't know. But in any case, doing that technique seem to help it. So just a PSA that if you have issues with your cables, or even like knits and pearls for ribbing, oh yeah, that's a better place for me to show it off. I did the combination knitting on my ribbing, and I think it turned out really well. Can you zoom in? Because usually when I do 1x1 ribbing, the inside looks better. Like, I still think the inside does look like slightly neater than the outside. Can I get my face out? But I feel like this looks so much neater than what my 1x1 ribbing used to look like. I don't have anything currently that has 1x1 ribbing where I didn't use combination knitting, but anyways. So that's my Carly cardigan, and I have worn this thing so much, and like I said, the yarn hasn't pilled. I think it's like the combination of the alpaca whisper with the Shetland. It just seems like it's a much more sturdy yarn, like combination together, and it's just, it holds up really well to friction, I guess. But yeah, I just, look at that. Oh gosh, I love cables so much. All right, so, okay, yeah, we'll do the next, I got one more cardigan and then, yeah, a couple more finished objects. Okay, so the last cardigan, sorry, but it's not the last garment, but the last cardigan that I finished is the gown cardigan, and this is another pattern by Irene Lynn. And this is my second time knitting this pattern. I knit it first for my sister, my younger sister, out of Fiber Spate's Scrumptious DK, I think it was. And I knit her like a standard length version. And when I was at Fibers West this year, on my way out, I decided to go back to the Kensington Prairie Farm booth and get a cone of yarn. And this is what I have left of the cone. But this is Inca, it's called Inca Tops. And it is 35% alpaca and 65% organic cotton. I wanted to knit the gown cardigan, and so I bought the cone. And I also bought the needles to start knitting on it right away because it's a 45-minute drive back home from where Fibers West was. And so I was like, I have time. I want to get this on. I want to get this cast on right now because I'm like super gung-ho and very excited about this project. So anyways, the gown cardigan, I wanted, and because I got a big cone, I was like, I'm gonna knit it really long. So it goes to my, does it go to my calves or does it go to my knees? I actually can't remember, but I put together the cutest outfit, and I felt like I was cleaning out my closet this last weekend, and I was like trying on clothes, and I was like, oh well, am I really gonna wear this or should I donate it? And I have this green skirt that I love. I got from like a thrift store for $4 or something, and I think it's like a cotton linen blend skirt or something. In any case, so I've got this long green skirt, and I was trying on different tops with it. I'm like, oh, nothing's really like, I don't know, nothing's really standing out to me. But then I found a black shirt at the back of my wardrobe that still had a price tag on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've a black shirt that I've never worn. And I was like, I wonder, the green skirt with a black shirt and the gown cardigan and my not Birkenstocks, my Blundstones. I was like, oh my gosh. So I put this outfit together, and I'll post it here. And I felt so cute. I was like, oh my god, I have to show this off somewhere. And the closest place for me to go is Starbucks, which is like a 10-minute walk for me down the street there. And I was like, I usually go there like once a week, and I sit and I knit in the mornings for like an hour before it gets busy. And so I was like, and the baristas, like the people that work there, I go there often enough that they kind of know me. And so anyways, I go there, I think it was like Sunday afternoon, like outside of like the time that I normally go. Like I said, normally go in the morning, but it was like 3 in the afternoon. I'm like, I have to show this outfit off. I have to wear it somewhere because I felt so good in it. And so I went to Starbucks, and I think there was like a couple of the people that were working there, they complimented me on my outfit, and I was like, oh, thank you. I was like, it actually means a lot because I actually, like, for once, I actually left my house hoping to get a compliment. Normally, like when I leave my house in my knits, like in my knitwear and stuff like that, it's just like, you know, I'm wearing it just because, like, it's comfortable or I feel good in it. But like, I specifically was like, I hope someone compliments me on my outfit because I feel like, I don't know, like I just felt so good in it. And so it was like super bonus that 2 of the baristas complimented me on my outfit. I was like, oh, thanks. So, anyways, okay, me blabbering on. All that to say, I knit the smallest size, but my gauge is so off because I wasn't thinking when I bought the needle size. I bought the size that the pattern asks for, and I got through the cable part at the top, and then picking up the stitches for the back, and I had knit quite a bit, and I was like, wow, this is pretty loose, but whatever, you know, I'm intending it to be more of like a spring cardigan anyway, because it is like mostly cotton and a little bit of alpaca. Anyways, and I was like, oh wait, I normally size down for Irene Lynn patterns, so I'm sure that if I was to measure this actually is more oversized than it's supposed to be. But I will show you the cable panel that's on here. Oh wait, let me get my face out of the way. Let's go this way. So it's got this cable on the edge, and then this like little cable here, and then this like flower knot cable, or at least I've heard it called flower knot cable, and then that again. And it's basically the only part of this pattern that has the cable is around the neckband, or like the button. It's not even a button band, but like the whole band around the, yeah. So I mean, I honestly don't mind knitting back and forth. I think the reason why I have so many cardigans is because I actually prefer knitting flat as opposed to knitting in the round. I just find, I don't know, I find it more pleasant for my hands to be knitting back and forth than to be constantly doing in the round. Specifically stockinette. I find stockinette in the round very boring, and it's very hard for me to keep my attention long enough to do it. So I was glad that the sleeves were pretty short, because this is, like, you can see that this comes down quite a bit. So the sleeves went by pretty quick. Oh yeah, and then I will show you like the combination knitting thing that I did again on this. I guess it doesn't really matter when I'm knitting flat. It wouldn't really make that much of a difference. It just looks really clean. I think it's on the working in the round with combination knitting is the different one. So like if I yeah, it just looks better, I think. I mean, like, again, the inside still looks like more clean, more uniform than the outside, but this certainly looks a lot less messy than my 1x1 ribbing used to be. And I forgot to mention that I did an Italian bind off on the Carly cardigan, and I did an Italian bind off on this cardigan as well. I don't mind taking the extra time to do the Italian bind off, because I find that it's a stretchy, like, it's the perfectly, like, just enough stretch for finishing. And I find that if and when I can, I will opt to do 1x1, or like I'll even convert the 2x2 into 1x1 to do the Italian bind off. I think in this pattern it actually asks for a twisted ribbing. I personally just don't like the look of twisted ribbing, so I didn't do it. Like, I don't like twisted ribbing on like large chunks, I guess, if that's a better way to describe it. The other thing is I omitted the pockets on this because I made it so long. Like, I figured my hands are not even long enough to, like, if I had pockets here, I wouldn't be able to put my hands in the pockets. And I also figured that if I was, I mean, the pockets are more like a fashion, like more for fashion, I guess. But I was like, yeah, fashion over function, because I was like, even if I put something in it, because the yarn itself is alpaca and cotton, I feel like it just would like really droop. And so I was like, you know, it's just, I don't think it would be worth it to put the pockets in. But I probably would never use them anyway, again, just for fashion. But I was like, you know what? I just want to keep knitting. I didn't want to have to like put stitches on hold and then go back and pick up for the pockets and stuff like that. I was like, you know what, this is a relaxing knit for me, knitting back and forth. Like I prefer to knit like large swaths of stockinette flat than in the round, because I feel like the constant motion of just knits does hurt my hand. And so it's like when I have like a row of knitting and then switching to the wrong side and then a row of purling, it's like I hold, let's see, like, yeah, I'm holding the yarn, I don't know, the movement of my hand is different for purls than it is for knits, obviously. And so I think having that balance between the two really helps, because if I remember, I'll talk about my issue I have with one of my works in progress. But yeah, so that's the gown cardigan, and I think I do want to knit it again, and I want to knit a shorter version with pockets. So I'm thinking that is going to be something that I will do in the future possibly, but I've got so many projects that I want to knit, so many patterns that I want to knit. So we'll see if I knit this for a third time. Okay, so I have one more garment and then 3 small finished objects. So the next finished object is so cute, and I'm so, like, I've already worn this at least half a dozen times because I think it's so cute, is the outline tee by Jessie May Designs. And I knit mine out of, okay, so it was local yarn shop day like a couple weeks ago, or like sometime last month, and my sister and I went to Valley Yarns, and I had such a hard, we were there for like an hour while I was deliberating. I was trying to decide what yarn I wanted to get, and I kept coming back to this yarn, this Juniper Moon Farm Maryland, because it has a lot of yardage on it. And okay, so I think it was like $30 Canadian, and it is for 100 grams, 503 yards or 460 meters. And I was thinking, like, what can I do with just one ball? I could probably make a tank top. But then I was like, oh, I knit, I knit an outline tee in Holst Garn in 1 cake and maybe like a third of a second cake. And I was looking at the yardage of that, and I was like, okay, if I knit 1 full cake and then like maybe 1/3 to a half of a second cake, I can probably get an outline tee out of 1 ball of this stuff. And I sure did. And here it is. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. I knit the smallest size because the first time I knit this, I knit the second size, and it's just a little bit too much positive ease for me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll knit the smaller size. But you can see there is sequins in this, and oh my god, I am obsessed. Look at that sparkle. Holy. I love this so much. I wear it over top of my high-waisted skirts, and I just feel so fancy. I'm like just going out for coffee at like Starbucks, but I'm wearing this, and like maybe I'll put in a picture here, but like my pink skirt with my brown like boots, and then this, and like I'll do my hair up and all that stuff, and I'll just feel like super fancy, like I'm going out for like I'm going out for a coffee date with myself, okay? So I'm allowed to dress up for myself. Anyways, so this is a bottom-up construction, and basically, so normally I wouldn't do the twisted ribbing, but I feel like this particular design, I don't know why, because it's just a little bit, it's only a little, I think it's like 6 rows that I did. I don't even think I did the full amount that was specified in the pattern, because I was like, I want it to be dainty. I want it to be little to match the, like when you drop the stitches at the shoulder here, like this little line here. I didn't want I kind of wanted the ribbing to be not too much wider than that. So I only did the 6 rows. Pretty sure it was 6 rows. And then it was the same with on the sleeves. I did it's kind of hard to see. The lighting's not the best, but yeah. And I think I had like 3 grams of yarn left over, so I have like a little tiny ball left over. But this pattern is so much fun. Basically, I like this bottom-up construction. I keep doing that. Go to this side. bottom up construction. So I got the boring part out of the way where you're knitting around and around in circles, because then basically at the halfway point, you separate for the front and back, and then you get to work flat back and forth, which like I said, I prefer to do that. And then at the very end, right before you, I think it's, so basically, okay, I put all the drop stitches on hold at the very end, and I did all my seaming and stuff, or like I seamed the shoulders together, and then I dropped all the stitches. So I had them all on markers, and then I dropped them all one by one, because I think in the pattern it tells you to do it, like once you get to the end of something, it's like, okay, now you can drop all your stitches and then move on to the next part. I was like, I think it's more fun if I just wait until the very end and then drop all the stitches in one go. Well, not in one go, but you know what I mean, in one sitting. It's more fun to watch the stitches come apart. So you can see, actually I'll show you the front. So it's really cool how this works, because it's like the stitch drops here and then just drops all the way around the neckline, all the way down the front. It does that on both sides, and then you can see, oh, my fingernail's caught. And then you can see on the back and the front, it's got the same thing. They even line up perfectly. That's so awesome. And then on the shoulder, it's got like the drop stitch there that goes down the side seam. So, I mean, even if I feel like I want to knit this again without the drop stitches and just have it as like just a cute little t-shirt, I guess, because I feel like it, at least for the smallest size, like I said, I got away with just under 100 grams. I think I'm pretty sure this is like 95 grams, maybe it's like somewhere 95 or 96, and so I had just a little bit left over, and so I feel like the yarn goes a long way in this pattern. Yeah, I don't remember what else I was gonna say. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But in any case, it's just super fun. And there were other colors in this. There was a black, I think there was a blue, and maybe a copper. And I was like, okay, I haven't looked yet, but I'm gonna look up this yarn and see if there's other colors, because if there's pink, like a nice like coral terracotta pink, I would love to knit another one in that. But I don't know, I was just very drawn to this one, because the sequins in this aren't like gold. They're kind of like they're almost like a rose gold, if you can see that. So I'm just obsessed with this. Like I said, I've already worn it a handful of times, and I want to wear it more, and I can't wait, because, oh yeah, did I say it? Okay, it's 57% organic cotton and 43% polyamide. So it's definitely like loose and airy, and definitely summery. The only thing is that the sequins are a little bit scratchy. So when I do wear this, I wear like one of my ripple bralettes underneath, and I find that it's not, because it's got the V-neck opening, I find that it's not like, at least it's not like itchy or scratchy like in the most sensitive area of my neck. It's just like every once in a while I'll feel like just a little prickle of a sequin. I just have to like scratch it a little bit. But yeah, oh my god, just the drape of this yarn is it's just so pleasant. I love that. And oh, it smells like my wool wash. That's actually amazing. I've worn this a handful of times and it still smells like my wool wash. I kind of set out to do one pair of socks a month this year. Unfortunately, this month for May, I have to rip out because they don't fit. I have to start over again. And then March. My socks for April, I have to weave in all the ends. So I'm going to just show you the ones that are 100% done. So my first pair of socks this year is the Petal drop socks. And this is a pattern handmade by Florence, or Florence Miller. And this is such a cute little like lace sock. If you're new to lace knitting, this is a great place to start. It's super, I feel like it's, at least for me, I feel like it was very intuitive. I think it's maybe a 4-row repeat. It didn't take much for me to memorize it. It's basically like this lace here, and then with the size that I knit, there was this mini lace panel, I think on the sides here. I think one of the other sizes or the other two sizes have full, like, it's just the one type of lace chart all the way around. The yarn that I used, I believe, is by Sweet Georgia, and I think it's their Tough Love sock. This would have been yarn that I purchased probably in 2017 or 2018, a long time ago. So I've since lost the ball band. I'm pretty sure I was knitting this in a shawl like a number of years ago and I didn't like it, so I ripped it out. But the sock has a heel flap and gusset, which is my preferred heel, and I say that very biasedly because I've never done any other heel flap, or sorry, I've never done any other heel construction, because I feel like this fits my foot so well that I'm almost like, why bother with other heel constructions outside of just getting to try them out. My fear is that I'll try like a short row heel or like a what is the other one, like the Fish Lips Kiss or things like that, and it's not going to fit my foot because this fits my ankle, like the back, like I don't know, it just fits my foot so well that I can't imagine any other shape fitting my foot as well as this. Anyways, all that to say, slip stitch, heel flap, and yeah, and then basically once I start the toe decreases, I think, I don't know if it's called a wedge toe, but it's basically like decrease, knit 3 rounds, decrease, knit 2, decrease, knit 2, then decrease, knit 1, decrease, knit 1, decrease, knit 1, and then you decrease every round until you have 10 stitches on each needle, so 20 stitches all together, and then you Kitchener. I don't think it's a round toe, because is the round toe the one where you decrease every other row, so it's like it's more rounded? I don't know. I'm not familiar with other toe. I'm not familiar with other heel constructions or toe constructions, because this is like the heel flap I learned on my very first pair of socks, and the toe construction is the same as I've been using since the very first pair of socks that I've ever knit. So yeah, so these are and they're finished, they're blocked, they're all nice and tidy, very cute. I love them. I haven't worn them yet, because I don't want to wear my socks until I've shown them on the podcast. So that was my January socks. My February socks are very exciting. These are the Cherry Lane socks. And I believe this pattern, I bought it, like I bought the pattern with the yarn, and it was Sweet Georgia yarn. Again, they're Tough Love sock, and I know the colorway is called Wisteria. And I believe the pattern was by Sweet Georgia or Felicia Lowe. But this was, I think, the second sock pattern I ever bought and tried to knit. And I first knit it on like DPNs way back in 2017 or 2018. And I got really far into the sock and then I put it down and I never came back to it. And so I think it was like last year I finally just ripped it out and recaked the yarn. And this year I finally decided to give that pattern another go. And instead of doing DPNs, I did magic loop. And they're so cute. Oh my god, look at these. And it is all lace. There's no cabling in here at all. Again, another really, I feel like this was a very intuitive lace pattern, because the repeats were like once I don't know, like I just kind of got into a rhythm of it, and like I didn't even have to look at the pattern after like the second or third repeat, because it all kind of, I mean, okay, so like these little lace panels don't line up 100% with like each one of these repeats, so I think it's like maybe 3 repeats. No, hold on, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I think it's for every 4 of these leaves is when these all start to line up again, or it's every 2. In any case, it was intuitive enough that I didn't have to look at the chart or the pattern, the written pattern. I think I'm pretty sure it's written and it's charted. Yeah. But yeah, like after a couple of repeats, I just didn't have to look at it anymore. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh. I did have to do a little bit of fiddling with the pattern somewhere in here. I think it was like around the heel flap and gusset with the magic loop, because there's like decreases in here, And I think when I was doing magic loop at some point, or maybe it's like right here where like the stitches end up being, I don't know, there's something funky about having, I had to like kind of rearrange the stitches on my magic loop in order for it to like work properly. But it wasn't a huge issue. I was able to just move the stitches to the other needle and keep going. But yeah, I love how these turned out, and they look so clean and crisp, like clean and as in, you know, just very, I mean, I washed and blocked them and I haven't worn them yet, but oh my gosh, just like, and the stitch definition, I don't know, I'm just obsessed. Like, I think because my petal drop socks turned out so well, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try out my Cherry Lane socks, and I was like, oh wow, this looks really good too. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna start knitting a pair of socks every month. And so my next finished pair of socks is from March, and this is there's no pattern for this. I just did 2x2 ribbing and then a 3x1 broken rib is what it looks like. And this is what they look like. So I had this variegated yarn that I bought from my very first Knit City in like 2017, 2018. And it's by Elderberry Yarns, which I don't think I've seen since then. And the reason why I bought this yarn, I think it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, but for some reason it feels so, I don't know, like it just, I thought for sure that there was some fancy fiber in this because it was so soft and squishy in the skein. And then I just bought it. I was like, wow, I like it. I like the color. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And that was, like I said, like 8 years ago? 7 or 8 years ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this yarn. I'm going to knit a pair of socks. And because of the variegation in it, I didn't want to do a pattern. Like I didn't want to do lace or cables. I figured a like broken rib sock seemed like I didn't want to do like a standard rib. Because I feel like that would just be, I don't know. I would get bored of it pretty easily. But doing the broken rib was really nice because you knit one round, and then the next round you knit 3 purl 1, knit 3 purl 1, and it gives you like this broken rib texture. Yeah, I still have a bunch of this yarn left. I think I've got like 40 grams of it left over. But so I have a whole pile of like leftover sock yarn, lots of leftover fingering weight yarn from making socks. Like, I'm pretty sure from every one of these pairs, I have at least 40 grams left over. And so, yeah. Again, standard, my heel flap and gusset, and the same toe that I did in the other ones. I think, honestly, the very first pair of socks I knit was a Sweet Georgia sock. I think it was, oh gosh, what was it called? It was like a wavy one. Ripple something? Wavy something. It was a lace pattern in any case, and that was the toe construction that I learned from that pattern that I've just done in every sock since. But yeah, so these are really cute. I just love, once you block socks, they just look so good. And I feel like, aside from like here, like it really pooled on this one a lot, but this one feels like it's a lot more like scattered, I guess. I think there's a little bit of pooling here and stuff like that, but I feel like overall these socks look pretty decent, like pretty all over, like chaotic, I guess is one way to describe it. So I was really happy with how these turned out. And I think the socks that I'm currently working on that I'm not going to show today because I'm going to rip them out, I think I'm going to rip them out and do the 3x1 broken rib thing, because I think it would be better for the yarn. Anyways, so that's all the finished objects that I wanted to show for today. And so I will talk about my 3 works in progress. My first work in progress is the Fleur Cami. Yeah, the Fleur Cami, and this is a pattern by Brianna Mason. And this is my 3rd time knitting it, and I feel like I think I'm gonna get it right this time in terms of the sizing. and the needle size and the size of the pattern that I'm knitting. So I am knitting this out of the same type of yarn that I knit the other ones out of last year. This is yarn in a cone that I picked up from Penelope Fiber Arts at Fibers West this year. And I believe this is a Maurice Broussard. Oh yeah, no, my camera's not liking that at all. It's, I think it's weaving cotton, or it's cotton, so it's some percent, I think it's like 50% cotton and 50% linen. Or it's some combination, I'm not sure. Again, this came with like a little tiny sticker, and I thought I had put it in my bag, but I'm wondering if like when I pulled the project out one time, the tag just, or the little tiny sticker just fell out and I didn't notice it. But in any case, I wanted a black tank top because I think that would be really cute, a black lacy tank top. And so I'm knitting, what am I knitting? Okay, the first one I knit was a size too big on 2.5 millimeter needles. And then the second one I knit was just slightly too much negative ease. And I knit that on, I knit the small. So the first one I knit was a medium on 2.5 millimeter needles, and it ended up being too much positive ease. The second one I knit was the small on 2.25 millimeter needles, and it ended up being, I mean, it fits me well, like it's very form-fitting, but I was like, I just want a little bit less negative ease, and so I decided to knit the size small on 2.5 millimeter needles. And so it's going to be hard to show because it's on a very small cord. It looks very tiny, but let's see if I can like kind of show the lace. It's like this really cute little dainty lace motif. Again, another really intuitive pattern. Once you've done the repeat once or twice, I find that it's easy enough to read your knitting to know which row you're on for the yarn overs and the eyelets. And so I really like the fabric I'm getting with this. Like, this is very thin yarn. I'm pretty sure this is thinner than fingering. Like, this is like lace, essentially. And I just don't do gauge swatches, and I tend to often throw caution to the wind and knit things out of yarn that are not recommended, I guess. I just enjoy the process of knitting, and if I have to take something apart or knit it again, I really don't mind, because I like knitting. So I don't mind if I have to knit more. I've got this little tiny stitch marker. Or, yeah, little tiny black heart. I thought it was really, really fitting for this project. So I'm not sure, I haven't measured this, but I do still think I've got several more inches to go before I split for the front and the back. But this is the one project that I keep in my purse all the time. Wherever I go, I always have this in my bag, whether it's my purse or my work bag, because it's so easy to just pick up and knit on. Like, doesn't matter which row I'm on, at least I can get a couple of stitches in if I'm like waiting in line or on my break at work or whatever. And so, yeah, I'm really liking knitting with smaller needles currently. Actually, I think it's just spring and summer have really, I don't know, taken a hold of me in terms of like finer fabrics, I guess. Because I mean, like, look how, like that, well, that's the wrong side. Sorry. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something very satisfying about that. Like, I can't wait to finish this and be able to wear it. The other thing about this is that Brianna Mason released the Fleur, like the Fleur top or the Fleur t-shirt. Like, it's a t-shirt version of this pattern. And I really want to knit that now. Well, not now, but I want to knit that this spring, summer. I mean, I guess summer starts, like, we're a month out from summer, so I'm gonna have to pick it up soon, or I'm gonna have to start it soon if I really want to have it for the summer. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this other than, like, it's just, you know, it's been going well. It's been going slow. It's not my main focus right now, but I think I'll be able to get a bit more work on this done in the coming weeks. Because yeah, I really want a black tank top. When I was saying earlier, it's like I found a black t-shirt at the back of my wardrobe. I'm like, oh, I really need more black tops. And I think a black tank top would be very cute. Okay, my next work in progress. Actually, wait, I'll show you this one. My next work in progress is one that I cast on yesterday out of the leftover cone, or the leftovers of the cone I had from my gown cardigan. And this is the T number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I am knitting, I believe, the second size, which I think is the small. Does it go extra small, small, medium? I'm not sure, but I know it's the second size on the pattern. And this is how far I've gotten. So I think I have, well, the front is really rolling up, but if I counted correctly, I think I've got 20 more rows of the front to do before I connect, before I connect under the arms. And I'm actually wearing my first T number 1 that I knit. Let me just so this one I knit out of Cascade Eco Hemp, I think is what it was called. I'm pretty sure it's like a wool hemp blend is what it is. In any case, I really, I struggled with this pattern a lot with the folded neckline and the folded hem on the bottom because it is so hard to distinguish the stitches in this like marled mess, essentially. I had to pick up and redo the folded hem like 3 times, and I finally had enough. I'm like, I'm gonna go somewhere where it's really bright. So I went to a coffee shop that had like a really big window, and I sat in front. It took me an hour to knit. It was like an hour or maybe an hour and a half to knit the hem, like to fold the hem and do it properly. And then the neckline, I really like the way that it looks, but it was totally new construction to me. Like the way that you do this is different. It's like, it seems counterintuitive to what I'm used to doing, but it's one of those like, trust the process and it'll work out. So anyways, all that to say, I wanted to knit another one because I was like, I weighed this and I had almost 400 grams left on this. I'm pretty sure if I minus the weight of the cone, it'd be like 350 grams. And I thought, okay, I think that's enough to make a t-shirt. Again, I'm throwing caution to the wind here, but I'm certain that that's going to be enough. Because I mean, like, I should probably weigh it and see how much is left on here. It's kind of deceptive because I don't know. I feel like it's deceptive. It doesn't look like there's much, but there's a lot on there, trust me. Anyways, so I'm knitting this on the 3.5 millimeter needles that's suggested in the pattern, and I like the gauge I'm getting. And the size that I'm knitting is the second size, like I said, and I was hoping, and like I measured it up against the one that I'm wearing right now, and this one is bigger than what I'm wearing, and I was hoping for that. Like, I hope that the end result does end up being bigger than this one, because I like the positive ease on this one, but I feel like my vision for this is like pajama top, like a cozy t-shirt that I could wear around the house. Because I like wearing this one, like I wear this one out, but I will say I think it's the hemp in this that like it does get a little bit scratchy around my neck, and so I don't really, I don't know, like I don't mind wearing it, but I like wearing it around the house. Like I feel so like cool and cozy in my own home. And I was like, oh, this color specifically, I'm like, oh, this like reminds me of one of my pairs of pajamas. So like it would be cozy as like an at-home oversized like pajama top, or like, I don't know, sleepwear or whatever. We'll see. I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm hoping that it turns out to be just slightly bigger than this because I think it would be really cute. But yeah. Anyways, so like I said, I did measure it up against the one that I'm currently wearing, and it does look like it is like, I'm pretty sure I must have knit the smallest size in this one, because I think like when you knit the saddle, I'm not getting way ahead of myself. This is a saddle shoulder construction. So you knit the 2 shoulders first, and then you pick up for the back. And then so I can show you here. So you do the saddles first. Oh my gosh. There are so many ends to weave in here. Yeah, I've cut my yarn like already like 8 times. Well, maybe not 8, but a lot of times, because there's a lot of like weird short row things that you have to do and then break your yarn, and then start over on the other side, and then break your yarn, and then start again on the other side. I don't know. Anyway, so you have the two shoulder saddles, and then you pick up and knit you do some short rows, or sorry, you pick up and then you cast on, and you pick up over here, and then you break your yarn, and then you start again somewhere in here, and you start doing short rows. And then you break your yarn and you go to the front. And you do the left front and then the right front, and then you connect, and that's where I'm at right now. The neckline looks massive, but if I remember correctly, when I did this one, the neckline was pretty massive as well, and I was like, oh my god, that's gonna be so big. But once you pick up the stitches to do the neckline, if you've made sweaters before, you'll know that it really like cinches it in. And I remember before I blocked this one, I had like these weird puckers like right up in here. But through blocking, it like completely settled out. Well, I mean, I guess that it won't really show until I get the neckline on, and then it might do the little puckery thing again. But anyways, I like the stitch definition I'm getting. The 3.5mm needles feel pretty good in my hands. I'm using my, what are these? I think Knit Pro Gingers. Yeah, this always rubs off on the Knit Pros or the Knitter's Pride or whatever on these wood ones. So I did have to use my needle gauge to figure out what size these were, because it is like near impossible to see the number on here. But anyways, I like working with this. I actually preferred, let's see, when I knit the gown cardigan, I knit with my Chiaogus, and it was very slick. The alpaca and cotton just like kept like, it was so slick on the needles. I was like, oh, I really should switch to wood needles. So when I started the T number 1, I was like, I'm going to find my wood needles, and I'm having a much easier time with wood needles on this fiber, or with this fiber. So yeah, so that's my T number 1. I'm hoping that by tonight I'll be able to connect it in the round. And then I think I'll like knit an inch or two, and then I'm gonna break the yarn and then go back to do the neckline and the sleeves, and then I'll go back to the body and just knit with whatever I have left. Like I said, there should be enough on this cone. We'll see. We'll see if future me comes back and says, oh, there wasn't enough yarn. If anything, I could rip it out and put it in something else, but that's for future me to worry about. Okay, the last work in progress that I want to show is a new design. It just recently came out. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, and it is called Ancient Orchid, and this is a design by Daku, and I believe she's also known as the Bluebird box. Oh my gosh, what is it? Oh shoot, I'll put it on the screen here. I don't know why I'm like suddenly blanking, but a friend of mine, Yasmin, test knit it for her, and so when I saw Yasmin post hers and then mention that the pattern had been released, I was like, oh my gosh, that is the cutest tank top I've ever seen. I need to have it. And I had yarn and stash that I could use for it that I have had since last year. So anyway, all that to say, this is where I'm at. Okay, there's a lot of ends that are not, I don't weave my ends in until the very end of a project, just in case I have to rip it out, which this project has been completely ripped out twice because I am a glutton for punishment. So this is turning out, or this is looking like way more like yellow on the camera, but it's this really cute tank top. You start it's a top down, and it's got this really cute like picot edge. Oh my gosh, it's like so adorable. And then I'm like an inch away from doing the finishing, or I guess 2 inches away from doing the finishing. But I have a journey with this one. I'll try and keep it short because this video is very long already. So when I saw this pattern, I was like, yeah, that's great. I want to do it, but I'm making a few modifications. So without doing a gauge swatch, I started with the suggested needle size and fingering weight yarn, because I think in the pattern it actually is not fingering weight. I think it's like a sport weight. But I was like, oh, I'll just make it work with fingering, whatever. Throw caution to the wind, see what happens. And so I knit the front, and then on the back I did knit what was in the pattern where you knit horizontally, like you knit a strip, I think it is, like a double knit band or something like that, and then you pick up stitches for the back. I did that and I didn't initially like it, so I ripped it out and I did something different. I actually picked up the stitches from the strap here, and then I used a long tail cast on with an extra piece of yarn to cast on a number of stitches here, and then picked up stitches on this side, and then I just did 1 by 1 ribbing. It's kind of hard to see. 1 by 1 ribbing, and then I just followed the pattern beyond that. The first time I connected it in the round, and then I knit 1 inch, and I put it on waste yarn or scrap needle, whatever, waste yarn, I guess, and I tried it on, and it was like probably 10 inches of positive ease where it's supposed to actually be like 1 inch of negative ease or something. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna rip this whole thing out. So that was 2 days worth of work gone. So I cast it on again on smaller needles, and I went down a size in the pattern, and I did the same thing with a modification on the underarm. I don't know, it was a weird, I don't even know how to describe it. I just did something that wasn't in the pattern under the arms because I thought it would look, I thought it would, like, I don't know, I did this here, like this decrease here under the arms, and because I thought that would look cool, and I was like, oh, I don't want to have to, I just was like, I didn't want to do what was in the pattern because it would be extra work. I'm like, yeah, that kind of came back to bite me in the butt, because the second time I actually knit even further on the pattern because yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, because I was out all day, and I was passenger in a vehicle for many hours, and so I knit like probably to here, essentially, and then when I got home that night, I tried it on, and it was too big because the modification I made under the arms, I didn't account for the stitches disappearing. So basically, when I was decreasing out, I was also increasing, because I'm like, oh yeah, if I'm decreasing, obviously I need to like add those back in to keep it from, you know, completely cinching in. And I was like, oh wait, the way that the pattern's written for the underarms, like a number of stitches actually just disappears underneath, without giving away the pattern. It's like, that's just, those stitches don't become part of the body is what I'm trying to say. And so I didn't account for that. And so the third time, so okay, yeah, so I ripped it out entirely on Sunday. Today is Wednesday. Yeah, so Sunday morning, so 4 days ago, 3 days, whatever, I ripped out the whole thing, wound it back up into balls. And so what I did was I'm knitting the smallest size. I'm knitting on 2.75 millimeter needles with, oh, I didn't even talk about the yarn. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm using Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. There we go. Nope. Oh no, it doesn't want, why is it having such a hard time? There you go. And this is yarn I bought last year during local yarn shop day. It was $16 a ball. I bought 3 of them because I was originally going to make a t-shirt, but I have this much left. I think it's just about 20 to 25 grams left, and I only have a couple inches left to knit on this. But yeah, what was I saying before I got distracted with the yarn? Oh yeah, so knitting the smallest size on 2.75 millimeter needles on fingering weight yarn, and I feel like now I have tried this on and it fits. I think it has the correct amount of ease, and I'm hoping this time I added the shaping because the first time I didn't, but I haven't tried it on since about like here, so I'm hoping that like it fit my bust and it fit like this upper part of my body well, so I'm hoping that I'm just gonna finish it and then try it on again, because I feel like it's only a couple more hours worth of work to finish it off, and I feel like I don't want to have to put it on waste yarn to try it on, and then have to struggle to get the stitches back onto the needles. And I don't know, I live on the wild side, I guess. If I have to undo the whole thing again, I don't even know if I would want to go down to 2.5 millimeter needles, because I like the gauge that I'm getting. Like I feel like that's pretty like it's not see-through. Like it's pretty dense. And I don't think I want to go any more dense than that because I don't want it to lose the drape. But yeah, I feel like this is one of those things where I super jumped the gun on modifications and went like straight to the deep end of like completely altering the pattern without considering the reason why the designer did things the way that she did. So yeah, I think I don't know, I just got really ahead of myself. And so now doing the pattern now, I'm doing it closer. I'm trying to think if I made any literally the only modification at this point that I've made, I think, is nothing. Oh, right, just the back. Instead of doing what's in the pattern, I did this here, and I think I do like the look of that for myself better. I just didn't like, I don't know, I just didn't like the way that it looked in the pattern. So, yeah. But yeah, that's that. Oh, and then the other modification I made was just like around the armhole. I just did one stitch differently than what was in the pattern. Oh no, okay, now I'm looking at it. The reason why it's okay that I ripped this out 2 times before is because I was playing around with the increases on the body here, like on these parts here, because the increase that's in the pattern, I don't know if I'm just not doing it right, or if I'm just, because I'm a loose knitter, it didn't look very clean to me. And so like the first time I did it, I did what was in the pattern, and then I just didn't like the overall look because I just couldn't make it look nice. The second time I did a different increase on the sides, and because the increase was right next to a purl stitch, it looked very sloppy because again, maybe it's just my tension. And so what I did was I did my increases, like it does look a little holy. I don't know, like maybe I gotta work on that. But I did them after, like I did one stitch after the purl stitch, and then I did my increase to kind of have it less gappy, I guess. But yeah, anyways, all that to say, I've enjoyed this pattern so much that I've knit it almost 3 times entirely. Oh, at this point I could have probably knit 2 of them entirely because of how much knitting I've done across 3 attempts essentially. But yeah, so like I said, I had 3 balls of this, and I don't think I'm even gonna finish this. So I'm excited to have a leftover ball that I can use for another project, maybe like a bralette or something. But anyways, so that's my ancient orchid. That's lots to talk about that one because it's been such a journey so far. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to show today. I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that the audio sounds okay and the lighting is okay. I did have to turn my overhead lights, like they're on a dimmer, so I just dimmed them all the way down without turning them off. And I'm hoping that the natural light that's coming from outside, even though there's an overhang outside, so it's like I'm not getting like direct light. I only get direct light at 6:30 in the morning through this window here with my plant. But the rest of the day the sun is like on the other side of the house. Anyways, now I'm rambling. Yeah, I think we're almost at an hour and a half, so I don't think I'll ramble on too much. I will say, like, thank you if you've made it this far into the video, and thank you for sticking around in my absence. I know I always have like these huge ambitions to like, I have a list of videos, like video ideas that I want to do for my channel, and then somehow I just kind of fall off the wagon of like, I get everything prepared, and then it's like all it takes is one thing to throw my day off, and I'm like, well, now I can't record, so I have to wait until next week or whatever. And then like one small thing happens, and then all of a sudden I'm like pushing things off to the next week, to the next week, to the next month, to the, so I'm trying really, yeah, regardless of the quality of this video, I'm gonna post it, I'm gonna edit it and post it, and I'm hoping that today is Wednesday. My hope, fingers crossed, is that I can edit it between tonight and tomorrow and have it posted by Friday, which I think is like May 23rd. So that's ideally when this video will go up. If not, then it'll go up within the week. I guess it depends on how long it takes me to edit, because this is a really long video and I plan to put in a lot of pictures. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like say too much of like, oh, here's my plans and I want to do this and I want to do more videos, because it's like I have ambitions to do those things. But do I have the time to do all the videos that I want to do? Probably not. But my hope is that now that I've gotten this podcast out, now I can like start fresh. Essentially, I've got my 3 works in progress, and then my next videos, like going forward, will be a lot less intimidating for me to sit down and film, and less work for me to have to edit, because this one was quite a beast. But yeah, I think I hope I covered everything. But yeah, I think, yeah, now I'm just like, my brain is like totally fried now. So I'm gonna go. Thanks again for sticking around, and until next time, happy knitting.